This podcast may contain adult language, adult situations, spoilers, and some brief nudity, so parental guidance is suggested.
We have such sights to show you.
After about 5 minutes of this movie, you're gonna wish you had 10 beers.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast. I am the Vern. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you are doing. Greatly appreciate all that you are doing. We are continuing our series on Robert Rodriguez, Recalling Rodriguez. My guest today is the esteemed, the Reverend Scott K from the Church of Tarantino Podcast. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
I'm very honored to have you here. I've been checking out your shows. I love all the different topics you have about Tarantino films, from cars to foods. Are you doing one on haircuts recently, or best?
Yes, this past month we just did facial hair. So
Facial
not
hair,
haircuts,
there it
but
is.
facial hair. Yeah. We'll probably get to heads of hair at some point.
I love everything you're doing. I enjoyed your interview you had with Tarantino himself. Very cool.
Appreciate that.
Was that taken at the New Beverly?
That was at so we interviewed him at Pam's Coffee, which is right next door to the Vista Theater, his other theater. Which is where he actually has an office. He has his office upstairs.
Oh, it does.
So if you ever watch the movie True Romance, the movie theater that Clarence goes to, that is the Vista. That's the actual Vista. It wasn't in Detroit. It's actually in California, in LA, on Sunset, just at the end of Sunset. And if you're watching in the movie from the early 90s, before he owned it and before there was anything next to it, there will be right to the right, there's like some windows. That's where Pam's Coffee is now. So it's to the right of the actual, in the theater. So, and his office is upstairs. So it's pretty cool that, my introduction to Tarantino unknowingly was through watching True Romance when I was in high school. And then there I was interviewing him and getting to watch his movie at that theater. So it's a pretty surreal moment.
Did you have pie when you were interviewing him?
We should have had pie, but we didn't. The only thing we didn't have was the pie. Yeah.
Pie there. Well, very cool. We are here today not to talk about a Tarantino film, but it does have some connection in some ways. We are here to talk about a section in the film, Four Rooms. And yes, I am holding up my VHS copy because I have not upgraded to any 4K, but I still got the old VHS here. This is the anthology film that was written and directed by Allison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Quentin Tarantino, and Robert Rodriguez. And we're mainly focusing on the section that Robert Rodriguez did called The Misbehaviors. Before we get into that, I always ask my guests, what is your introduction to Robert Rodriguez and his films?
Introduction is going to be Desperado.
Oh, yes.
Being a Tarantino fan, especially when I got into it, Tarantino and Rodriguez have a very symbiotic relationship because they both had such early success and were Sundance darlings for Reservoir Dogs and El Mariachi. So, they got, big time pushes because they were like the new up and coming Hollywood at that time. And so you would learn that the two of them were starting to become friends, and Tarantino's in Desperado. So, you find that out, so you go to watch Desperado, and then before you know it, they've got Four Rooms and From Dusk Till Dawn, which, even though they both have just celebrated their 30th, From Dusk Till Dawn came out 30 years ago in January, and we did an episode for what we're going to talk about today for Four Rooms the January before, but at the very end of it, so at the end of 95, in December timeframe, Four Rooms comes out. End of January of 96, From Dusk Till Dawn comes out. So the two of them actually cross over in a 6 to 8 week period where they have a movie together, or like this anthology, and then they also then cross over where he now is being directed by Tarantino, or he's directing Tarantino and he's acting in From Dusk Till Dawn. So once that happens, I become a big fan of his as well because they're like brothers, and it's been a fun journey. You know, obviously I'm a bigger Tarantino fan, but I do enjoy a lot of Rodriguez stuff. And I have kids that when I had my kids, he was in his kid era. Like he's making the Shark Boy and Lava Girl. He's doing all the Spy Kids. So I was still able to stay with him because now my kids are watching Rodriguez movies, which is so surreal to say that, you watch like The Faculty in his earlier movies, and then to think that your children are going to be watching a Rodriguez film when they're kids, that wouldn't have been the plot I would have expected.
Well, the cool thing too is that he's able to, like, you can actually show your kids like Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and then show them The Faculty, and then later show them like
yes.
Desperado, and then lead them over to see From Dusk Till Dawn, and then Grindhouse, Planet Terror, and everything. Like, he does a whole wide range of different ages.
He does.
Alita Battle Angel is another one too. You could definitely show.
Yes,
it
is.
Well, and he has this wide range of doing different genres of features. I think the time he's working with Tarantino is a lot of fun because both of their styles are very different and yet match each other very well. I kind of wish that Tarantino would write more things for Rodriguez. I know he's talking about not directing more movies, and I'm hoping that he continues to write. And like, I know he's writing stuff for David Fincher for that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood series. And I'm hoping that he'll continue to work with Robert Rodriguez because over on our main channel right now, I just recently reviewed the film Hypnotic with Cam Sully of Jacked Up Reviews. And the direction of that one is good, but I really wish he had a better writer.
Yeah, I agree.
For that word.
I've always said that as much as I love Rodriguez, he's not the greatest writer. But if you look at my two favorite of his, being From Dusk Till Dawn and then Sin City, those two movies, obviously he helps co-write, but he's got Frank Miller, the man who writes the comic book, not only helping him direct, but we're rewriting basically the script off of his novel or off of his graphic novels. And then Tarantino wrote From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, Rodriguez has got a great aesthetic when it comes to directing, but when he does have a really good writer on set or, who's the material he's working with, I think he really sails with it. As we talk just about a couple of days ago, maybe even a week ago, Sony Pictures says they're going to do a script inspired by the Django Zorro crossover that Tarantino helped write with, I think, Matt Wagner, 11 years ago.
Oh,
now, obviously, we don't know who's going to be playing the roles. Tarantino's not going to be involved. He just kind of gave it his blessing. He'll probably make some money off of it. We don't know if Jamie Foxx and Antonio Banderas will do those roles, but Brian Helgeland's going to be writing the script. It's not going to be the same flair as Tarantino. However, it feels like Robert Rodriguez would be the perfect guy to step into that world if, for someone to direct it. I feel like he would be that perfect synergetic cross that we would, enjoy having him direct something that he will, he'll know what obviously, with Zorro being a huge Mexican folklore hero right up his alley. And he also knows Tarantino with Django. So it could work out if, Sony's smart enough to hire him to direct it. That could bring a little bit more excitement to the project, because I don't know how many people are excited right now, because without Tarantino involved, and you don't know if those two guys are going to do their roles, it could just be two new actors, and it may not be, see, like we both feels like if you're not doing Antonio and it's not Jamie Foxx, why are we wasting time?
Yeah.
And then if you're not going to have Lisa Rodriguez do it, then, it really does feel like just a waste of money and talent and time to waste on a project that no one's going to care about.
And I have a bad feeling that Sony will mess up on this. I'm hoping not. I'm trying to be positive. All right.
Cross fingers
and everything. I'm just trying to be, this is the first time I'm actually kind of hearing about this. So I'm intrigued. I'm afraid, but that intriguing is make me feel giddy and excited at the same time too. So, hey, who knows? Well, let's do this right now, Scott, because we're going to get into our conversation about Four Rooms. Let's just take a quick look at the TV spot for Four Rooms.
Beautiful.
It's New Year's Eve at Hollywood's wildest hotel. It's Ted's first night on the job.
Glad you could make it, son.
Glad I could be here.
And all the guests are acting up.
We want you to. I am not gonna cut off Norman's little.
My children are staying here watching TV.
Get a bottle opener!
Something happens to my children.
Smell for yourself.
Go to sleep!
We can't.
4 Rooms.
Hell of a night, huh, Ted?
Rated R. Starts Monday, Christmas Day, everywhere.
All right. So 4 Rooms is, like I said before, Allison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. But the feature we're focusing today is on the Misbehaviors. Antonio Banderas and Tamlyn, Tomita, Lana McKissack, Danny Verduzco, Patricia Vaughn, appearances by Salma Hayek, Tim Roth as Ted the Bellhop. Robert Rodriguez wrote and directed this feature, and the story is about this gangster played by Antonio Banderas and his wife played by Tamlyn Tomita, and they are going out on the town, or they're going to this big hotel New Year's party. If you don't know already, 4 Rooms is an anthology feature where Tim Roth plays Ted the Bellhop, and each room he goes to is a different story. It's set during the course of New Year's Eve, and each room is a different story. This third one, like I said before, involves these gangsters, and they're going out, and Tim Ross Ted shows up, and he's been hired to watch over these kids. Doesn't really want to take the job, but when Antonio Banderas' character offers him a lot of money, he's like, sure, why not? First off, Scott, I actually love the 2 actors who play the kids in this.
They're phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yes.
And when I first watched Spy Kids, I thought he was going to use the same kids from this to be in 4 Rooms.
That's not a bad thought because they are very good. However, when did Spy Kids come out? Was that like 2000 or was that the late 90s? I'm trying to remember.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, so those kids are probably, even if they were young men, it would have been 8 years old. They probably would have been closer to preteens. So maybe one of the reasons he didn't use them.
Well, I wouldn't say
they're spectacular.
I'm not saying the same actors, but I thought it would be like the same.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the same family. Gotcha. Yeah.
Because Antonio Banderas is in Spy Kids.
Mm-hmm. He is
as like their dad. So I'm thinking maybe he moved from being like a gangster to being a super spy, and then he dumped the one wife for Carla Gugino, and now is doing bitch spy missions and everything. But I love kind of the beginning of the movie where he is trying to make his son's hair slick and lick back. And he's always got that cigarette in his mouth too. And the little boy is always trying to grab the cigarette and smoke it.
You smacking it out of his face.
Smack him on the hands right there. It just has so much of like this physical comedy right off the bat. And then the mother and the daughter, they seem to be, very much kind of like alike and kind of like bored of everything.
Mm-hmm.
The kid who plays his son, all I know from him is that in the movie Desperado, that young boy that Antonio Banderas is teaching to play guitar, that's his little brother. So the little boy in 4 Rooms, his little brother is the little kid from Desperado.
Oh, that's very cool.
So there's always like this family element going on in all of Rodriguez's films, which I definitely appreciate that very much. But yeah, so like this whole family's getting ready to like go out for New Year's. I mean, the kids are all dressed up. Parents are all dressed up. They're going to get ready for a night in the town. Of course, this is the Monsignor Hotel, all right, which this is a real hotel. This is not like a invention made by Rodriguez and Tarantino, right?
Yeah, it's
a real place.
And I can't remember if it's which room it's in. It's in one of the either 2, 3, or 4. I don't think it's in the last one. Yeah, but you can see the silhouette, or there is a advertisement of a Jackrabbit Slim. So a Jackrabbit Slim's like almost logos. It's almost as if this the hotel that they're in is next door to a Jackrabbit Slim. So that's kind of a fun little Easter egg that you can see in the rooms. It's outside the window. So I can't remember if because in the second room Ted goes out the window. I can't remember if it was in that one or if we just see it in one of the rooms. But it's in one of the rooms. You can see the actual. Obviously, they probably just put it on cardboard and had it on a stand outside the window when they're filming it, so you could see it. But there is another Jackrabbit Slim's appearance in this film, in the totality of the 4 stories.
Okay,
that's pretty cool.
I may have to watch it on a different thing besides just my VHS, because my VHS is going to be pan and scan. So I'm pretty sure it's probably there, but I can't see it because I'm watching it on my Square TV, and I just don't notice that right there. But getting back to 4 rooms, so they're getting ready to go out, and then the wife, of course, played by Tamlyn Tomita, she says, "Why do we need to bring the kids? All right, they're just going to get in the way." And he's like, "Kids, you stay here and don't do anything. Don't misbehave." Is what he keeps saying. So they leave, and then they come back, and right away, I think one of the kids is trying to open up a champagne bottle, and turn it on. Stations that he's not allowed to watch with this new girl dancing, and Tony Banderas' character's like, "You know what? I can't do this. I gotta bring someone here to watch over my kids." So he calls up Ted. Ted shows up, and there's actually a really kind of funny moment between the two that I'm going to play right now.
All right. You want $500?
Sure.
How about 3?
$300?
Yeah.
3's fine.
Yeah. My children are staying here tonight watching TV. I want you to check up on them every 30 minutes.
Check up on them?
Yeah, make sure they are all right, make sure they are fed, make sure they go to bed, these things.
Sir, I can send out for a babysitting service.
No. I don't trust babysitters. My children are safer alone than with some fucked up pedophile babysitter I don't know from the man in the fucking moon.
What about him? What makes you think you can trust him?
Tell me that's not a face you can trust.
I'd love to help you with your problem, sir. But unfortunately, I'm here alone tonight.
100, 200, 300. Here you are.
I thought you said 500.
No, I said 300.
No, sir. I distinctly heard you say 500.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, sir. What I'm saying is that you accidentally forgot that the first thing you said was...
But what I last said was 300. And what you say last is what counts.
Well then, if you say 500 one last time, we have a deal.
You fucking with me, pendejo?
No, sir. But I'm by myself, and looking after your kids is a pain in the ass I don't need.
Are you calling my kids a pain in the ass?
Why, no, sir. Not the kids. It's the situation that is a pain in the ass.
No, you were right the first time. They're a pain in the ass. All right. You win. Tough guy. 500.
You kids are getting expensive.
What's your name? Ted. If you need anything, just dial 0 and ask for Ted.
And make sure they're in bed before midnight.
Before midnight? Then should I wake them up for the countdown to the new year?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Love that right there. Now, I've only seen Tamlyn Tomita in like the Joy Luck Club. And I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else. But she does such a great job of just playing that disdained, almost like bored wife.
Bored housewife.
Like, well, she's like that woman who liked the glamour of being a gangster's girlfriend. And then when she became a mother, she was like, oh, gosh, these kids, got to take them everywhere with us. I can't have any fun anymore. I can't go out in the town and look all glamorous. I got these kids with me. So she wants to just put them up on someone else for the night. Tim Roth in this. Now, as a young kid, Scott, I don't know about you, but I have not really seen Tim Roth do any comedic roles like this, like
No,
physical
like I
comedy.
said, I knew him from Reservoir Dogs. That's the first time I ever saw him. And I was surprised to find out he was British because, he did such a good job with this English accent. I thought he was full-on American.
Yeah.
And then Pulp Fiction, he comes up. That's when you realize he's British.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's in this. So really the only two movies I really had any reference for are the two Tarantino movies he'd been in. So I hadn't really seen him do this kind of comedy, this kind of almost Laurel and Hardy 1930s, 1940s type of slapstick comedy.
Well, there's a movie that Tarantino mentions in the next section called The Bellboy. He talked about The Bellboy,
Mhm.
Jerry Lewis's role. And I watched The Bellboy not too long ago. And it's a great performance, but it's mostly silence. And I feel like Tim Roth is sort of like elevating some of that key themes. But also, there's a weird sort of like Peter Sellers type and like vibe of how he's doing things. And he's just not afraid to be goofy and ridiculous with the whole thing. And I find that to be very funny.
I find that depending who's directing him, his performance
Oh,
is better.
sure.
I feel the first two rooms, they're okay. The last two are much better. And if those who are watching this on the YouTube channel, you'll see that in the trailer, it's pretty much Tarantino and Rodriguez's rooms that are hyped in the trailer.
Yes.
You don't see much of the other ones. The first room is okay. It's weird. His first two roles, his first two performances in, being directed by different directors, they're different. They're kind of scattered. Once he gets to Rodriguez and then goes to Tarantino's, Ted the Bellhop starts to feel like a more complete character, if that makes sense. Like how he acts in the Misbehaviors and then how he acts in The Man from Hollywood, it's almost seamless. The other two, they're a little off, and also those stories are different as well. But if you go back and rewatch it again, you can kind of notice the differences when who he's being directed by and who has a better grasp of how they want him to play Ted the Bellhop. Because sometimes I feel he's a little over the top in some of the things he does in the first two rooms, where he's almost more pitch perfect in these, where he's leaning into those old performances that he probably referenced, but he's got a little bit more control of the character. He's not as just off the wall goofy, because you watch him in room one and you're kind of like, okay, they're trying to get a semen, spoiler alert. And then in room two, it's some kind of weird sexual fantasy being, bondage and guy being basically a cuckold. And then you're kind of like, it's just such a strange difference between the two. But then when he gets to this room and then the next, I don't know, he feels more of a realistic character that I can, believe. He's not just trying to go for, like you said, like a Jerry Lewis. He actually feels like he's now got his wind underneath his wings of this role and how he wants to perform it.
Well, yeah, it's great that you mentioned about those other two features in Four Rooms, because for me, when watching them, it almost feels like those directors are asking Ted to be this audience avatar in a way, instead of having him be his own character. Like, I think the second section is very fascinating, and I almost want to see that be adapted into another like longer movie, but have a character that's not Ted the Bellhop, but actually be a more compelling character in there. And I'm really grateful they put those two things at the start, because it does build your interest more until we get to hear the Misbehavior section, because the first two, they have some funny moments, but they're not all that great,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They're just like, they're lukewarm. This
I love Jennifer Beals.
This kills it. Yeah,
The
Jennifer Beals is
in
good.
the second one, real quickly though, the Jennifer Beals, when she talks about all the different words for Ted's Wayne,
Yes.
and David Proval is just getting more irritated, that's a funny moment, all right? And that ends that section there, and then you go into the Misbehaviors. So, like, we as an audience are thinking, all right, now the comedy's going to get ramped up even more. And then you got that music coming in there, and then we got
I love the
introduced to
music.
this family. And then after playing the last scene, so Ted is there kind of forced to watch the kids. He tells them, call me if you have an emergency. And then the little girl starts calling him at random. when about these different things. And I should mention this too. All right, throughout this whole thing, there's a smell that's going on in this place. And the kids are just thinking that it's their feet. All right. The sister thinks it's the brother's feet. The brother thinks it's the sister's feet. So we have that going on. And then there's like one scene where she sees a syringe next to a Bible, and she makes a phone call. And the phone call she makes is to the people.
Oh, yeah, it's at the room. Yep.
In the second story. And they have the conversation there. And I remember when I first watched that, when you see the movie, you see the scene in the second room, the second story, and that guy picks up the phone, talks to someone, like, she's got a big freaking needle here. And then you realize that in the third story, she's talking about a syringe next to a Bible, and she's just calling random numbers. And so that's there. And you'll have to remind me of this here, Scott, because I think that the little brother, he turns on the TV and starts seeing this beautiful, half-naked lady, all right, which I did not realize at the time was
just from I think from like the shoulders down, maybe. I think it's as far, we never see the head, but yeah, that's Selma Hayek doing a cameo as the lady in the bikini, and the what's supposed to be like, God, this is gonna age us, but like the old porn channels you'd have on you could pay for at the hotels and stuff. So I don't know if they still do that anymore, but that was the old day. You could get X-rated movies and you pay to go in your room.
Oh yeah, no, I remember having the bots on the TV, and you go to those channels,
the box, yep,
and you go to the channels all scrambled, and
yep, and then you have to pay for it. Then boom, there it is. So that's kind of what it was. It's kind of like that's simulating that. Obviously, somehow it wasn't going to be naked in it, but we could have hoped. We could have hoped for that.
Well, and the weird thing too, when you see clips of it, it looks very much like an old 1960s nudie cutie movie. I almost thought that Robert Rodriguez just bought the rights to show a scene of that, because you can't see Salma Hayek's head. How would you actually know for sure it was her or not? And the way that the film is like degraded and everything, I just thought that they bought the rights to just show a clip from a movie, because I know that Tarantino and Rodriguez are a fan of like older movies, and just kind of figured they would have just done that right there. So little sister, she calls down to say, "Hey Ted, you gotta turn off the porno station." And Ted's like, "There's no porno station going on here. What are you talking about?" She's like, "No, you gotta turn it off. Like, it's not on. Like, I want you to turn it off." And he despises the plan. After he goes up to the hotel, he says, "All right, kids, I brought you milk and cookies, but we're out of milk and cookies, so I brought you milk and saltines. So go to bed, all right? Make sure everyone uses the bathroom." And they take this little ointment, this vapor rub, dabs it on their eyes, tells them the story that you open up your eyes while you're asleep, it'll burn and burn. Just wait until the morning, and everything will be just fine. So he leaves, thinking that everything's going to be fine. And then the little girl, she finds a way to see in the dark and washes off her eyes so she can see. And then she tells the same thing to her brother. And then they're up watching TV. And I noticed the part earlier where they're drawing like bullseyes and they're throwing the syringe.
Yes, they're on the wall.
At each other.
Into the wall. Yep.
Trying to make sure they stick there. And then while they're watching TV, the little sister, she's like smelling her own feet. She takes off her brother's shoes and smells his feet. She's trying to figure out where the smell is coming from. And this is when this is the reveal, this really kind of shocking reveal of this dead girl.
Yeah, dead hooker in the mattress.
And which
under the mattress in the box spring.
Happens at hotel rooms sometimes. You always gotta be careful of those dead hookers and bed in your bed. Oh.
Yeah, if you sleep at a Holiday Inn, sometimes you don't just get smart, you get dead hookers as well.
Exactly.
So you gotta be careful out there.
So they call back Ted, and this element here, Scott, has got to be a really great way of showing comedic timing very well, because Ted shows up there and that kid is smoking, smacks a cigarette out of his hand, all right, grabs a bottle from the other person's hand, sets that down, and the little girl's like yelling, like, shut the trunk, and Ted's like, what, like, for the bodies. She's like, can't you smell it? And he's like, no, that's not a body, that's your feet, that's what I'm smelling right there. And then she finally just pulls the thing back, shows the dead body. Ted's throwing up everywhere. And now we've got Antonio Banderas and his wife. They are coming into the door. And Ted's like, I am not going to be blamed for this right there. And he calls the cops and he says, please, it's an emergency. There's a dead whore. And the way he says that, whore. And then she goes,
the little girl doesn't like him calling her that. So she stabs him in the leg with the needle. He slaps the kid again, kicking the cigarette out, and it knocks the bottle over. We got the curtains are on fire.
Yeah.
Ted's got a needle on his leg. There's a dead hooker in the mattress. Curtains out. The nudie channel's on.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, it is really a masterclass in comedy. It really is just hilarious because the kids are selling this.
Oh,
I mean, this whole actually, Ted's actually kind of like he's more prevalent in all three, except for this one. He's more of a side character in this
very
one.
much so.
It's really the kids, the girl and the boy, are unbelievable in this. And then he gets drawn into their bullshit that's happening. But it is just the two of them are killing it. And then when we bring Ted in, he adds to it. And the final moment, as Antonio Banderas is now dragging his wife, who we learn is an alcoholic and can't handle her liquor.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've been gone an hour.
I don't think they have been.
Hours. She's already drunk. He's dragging her half dead corpse down the hallway out of the elevator. Meanwhile, we keep cutting back and forth to him coming down the hallway, to curtains on fire, and Ted jumping around with the needle. It's just such a good fucking scene. I mean, the whole little short film. I mean, it is a masterclass in being able to tell a tight story, beginning, middle, and end I think it's like a 9-minute, 10-minute movie, maybe a little bit longer. Rodriguez is on his game in this entire moment. When we did this last year, I actually said this was the best room. It was better than Tarantino's. I think this is the best room of the 4 rooms.
I
It
agree.
is such a great script, such a great performance. Everything is working in this. It is one of those master classes. If you're going to teach a film school and you want to show people how to make a short film and be able to tell a story, where we know enough about the characters that we care about them, but also we don't have to waste time on any extra, and you just tell your story. This is one of those ones you chill people.
Yeah, because it's a great. You're exactly right, Scott. The story is good not just because of the dialogue; it's because of the acting. And as much as I like the last section of Tarantino, that feels more like a monologue.
Yes, a lot of monologue going on in that one.
Than it does a story. And with the Misbehaviors, those two kids, they don't really say a lot during moments, but it's just their actions of each other, and just kind of being surprised by what the other reacts to is very convenient and fun. The second and the first story, it's mostly just about kind of like the premise of it, like the missing ingredients. It's like, oh, she forgot to get this, his semen, and that's supposed to be the joke of the whole thing. And you have all these great actors, but a lot of them are not even used to the point where, why are they there? Yeah, I have not seen Allison Anders' other movies. I know she did like Gas Food Margin, which I heard is supposed to be good. And Alexander Rockwell, I don't know anything about him. I know he did a movie with Steve Buscemi, and a few others, but and Jennifer Beals. He did a movie with, like In the Soup, I think, with Jennifer Beals and Steve Buscemi.
I think he was married to her at the time.
He was.
I believe he was married to her at the time. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Fair enough there. But yeah, once we get to the Rodriguez section, right away, it feels like I'm watching a movie, and I almost kind of wish that we just had a nice little half-hour movie with just Rodriguez and Tarantino's shorts.
Yeah.
And one thing, and maybe it spanned those out a little bit more. I don't know, but yeah.
No, you're not the only one to feel that way. I guess the smart play by Miramax at the time was, you put those two at the end, and you kind of force people to stay. And if they'd been at the beginning, that movie would have, you wouldn't want to make it to the end. You'd be like, all right, I think I'm done right here.
Yeah.
But because you're kind of forced to get through those two, and like I said, they do get better. The first one, you're kind of like, what's this all about? Like, we got to get his semen, and then he's going to wake some goddess, and that turns into nothing. Like, a bunch of witches show up in like a weird honeymoon, some kind of weird suite where they got a really probably terrible hot tub, and Ted bangs a girl in there and leaves his semen behind, and that's the ingredient. And next thing we know, that means nothing. And then he gets called to another room where some guy thinks his wife is fucking everybody in the hotel, and so he's got her tied up. He's a cuckold. And then we finally get to this one. You're like, okay, now I'm on even ground. And even the Tarantino one is pretty decent.
Yes.
It's good. It's well done. It also has some good comedy, but it's a long setup for it. This one, it fires on all cylinders from the minute it starts to the minute it finishes. There's not a wasted moment, not a wasted scene, not a wasted anything. It just feels concise. And it really sticks out like a sore thumb in comparison, especially when you watch the first two. Like, you almost think that obviously Tarantino was the bigger name at the time, but you almost feel like Tarantino should have gone third. Rodriguez should have finished it up, because that whole scene of like, the door closing with him holding his wife and him saying, did they misbehave? And they got the fire and the whole thing. That feels like that's the closing credits right then and there. Even though I know it is fun with, spoiler alert, with him cutting off the finger and all that happening really fast, because you don't see that coming. Like, I'll give Tarantino's due there. You think we're going to do this whole lighter thing, it's going to last like for forever, and it doesn't. It's like the first time doesn't light, fingers gone. You're going, holy shit, that was quick. But I just, and then that takes a little bit long. Ted takes his money, he walks off, yada yada yada. But at the same time, it does feel like that the Misbehaviors could have been the one that ended it, because it's just a perfect ending.
It's hard to say if I want to have it end with the penthouse suite and him walking away with the money, or if I want to have it ended with him holding the bottle with the needle in his arm with things on fire. And it would be kind of fun to have the credits just rise up with that whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I do like the sequence after the Misbehaviors where he does talk to Kathy Griffin.
When he's like, I quit, I'm out.
And he's like, that's it, I'm done. And he's like, oh, is that the hotel? Is that Chester? You gotta go to the hotel. And that will, it's hard to say. I don't know. It's one that I do watch every New Year's.
It's like I said, those last two, they're a lot of fun. And even the second one's not bad. It just doesn't have a good payoff. The other two do have a good payoff. The other two really pay off well. The Misbehaviors, like I said, I could gush on it all the time. I did on the episode we did. It's just so well done. It flies. The Tarantino one drags a little bit. Like you said, it's a little bit monologue. Mm-hmm. We got a little bit more talking than we need to. But when we get to the meat and potatoes of it, it's great too. It's like, bam, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? So those two will keep your interest. The first two they drag a bit. They definitely pull this down.
And to speak about Robert Rodriguez, and he wrote the script for this, like you said before, Scott, I think Rodriguez works best in short movies. Like his rating is very strong. Fair. But I have a feeling too, like the story for the Misbehaviors could be adapted into a longer story. And I kind of wish I had more stories with those characters.
So actually, it'd be almost more fun if they were more anthology-like. So I would prefer just to see different, like adventures of these kids and the mishaps that they have caused throughout other holidays.
Yes.
It could have been like, well, it's what happened at Christmas. It's what happens, that'd be fun, because I don't know that you want to extend any more of the story that we get, but other stories, other add-ons would be great.
That's what I mean right there. Not saying extend that story of the Misbehaviors, but show other stories with those kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
And see how they would be in different stories. And in fact, as a weird sort of alternate timeline, I would like to see those kids in those other rooms. All right. And how they would interact with the witches and that couple right there too.
Yeah.
Like how they would be able to take care of them. I really have nothing more to say about Four Rooms and the Misbehaviors. I think is a brilliant done short film. I think all the actors are just doing an incredible job. Those two actors who play the kids, I'm kind of surprised I have not seen them in other movies.
When we looked it up, I don't think the young boy did anything else. I don't think he went on to like do something else in life, but I don't think he was in a whole lot of anything after this, which is, like you said, it is surprising they never made it to any of the Shark Boy and Lava Girl or the. I mean, he did a couple of them. There's the movies called Shorts. They weren't in those. They weren't in the Spy Kid movies. So, but I think if you were to look at all those, again, those are longer films. I don't think anyone's better in any of those films than these two kids are in the 15, 20 minutes they get in this little small short film. They're selling this whole thing. Like Tim Roth has taken a backseat. Antonio Banderas has taken a backseat.
Yes.
These kids make this whole thing. Their comedic timing, their chemistry is unreal. And that little boy gets smacked 3 or 4 times when that cigarette comes out. His reactions are fantastic. The little girl is fantastic. They are just absolutely selling this story. And that's not easy to do. It's not easy to, work with kids to get them to be so comedically great. And writing comedy is very hard. And Rodriguez does a great job with the writing and the directing of it. And these kids do an amazing job being these central actors. Like, if I were to tell you that there's going to be a short story, Antonio Banderas, Tim Roth, and Salma Hayek are in it, and I told you they're not even the stars, you'd be like, that doesn't seem like this is going to work. But it does.
Yep, you're exactly right. Their chemistry with each other are great. Their comedic timing is perfect. And if this is the only thing that they are remembered for, all the best for it, though.
Yeah, really, it's like it's a home run. They bow and they walk off.
I guarantee you, if they went to any con anywhere, they would just be like praised wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Because I totally agree with that with you, Scott. They are definitely the bells of the ball. They are the best actors in this feature. So yeah, 100%. Great. Yes. All right. So I always ask my guests to give out of 5 stars. How would you rate 4 Rooms as a whole?
Ooh, as a whole. Ugh, that's tough. So when I do out of 5 stars, I always say I start everything with a 3. If I go to watch a movie in the theater or put it on, we start already at a 3-star.
Yep.
You then either earn or lose based on that. I might put it right in the middle as a 3-star. I might put it in the middle because the last 2 are so good. It saves the first 2.
Yep.
Saying it's a 2.5 star or less would make people not want to watch it. And I think you should watch it for at least Rodriguez and Tarantino's 2 Rooms. So don't watch 4 Rooms. Watch 2 Rooms. If you got it on Blu-ray, skip to the Misbehaviors. Maybe watch the early part till you understand who Ted is, and then skip to the Misbehaviors and just keep following from there. And you really won't miss out on a whole lot outside of Jennifer Beal pops up in Tarantino's. So you might be like, who's this lady? And then also, like you said, the phone call down to her room. All right, maybe. So maybe go Room 2 on, but Room 1 is kind of pointless. Room 2, like you said, great premise. Ted doesn't need to be the guy. You're right. It doesn't need the comedic hijinks of Ted and how he's acting in it.
Yes.
It kind of needs somebody who's kind of like, what the fuck have I just walked into? You know what I mean? Almost more of a straight man than this Laurel Hardy kind of guy. You almost need someone who's kind of like, wait a minute, what? Is this real? Do you think I'm fucking? You need someone who's more of a straight man than you do someone who's just like, oh, you're kind of acting all out of place.
I almost like a Paul Verhoeven to do the second one.
Yes, something like that. Yeah,
something like there.
We need a little bit more of a. It's still a dark comedy, more of a maybe even a Coen Brothers vibe to it. A little more darker vibe, kind of like a William H. Macy kind of character. This lovable dumbass, but he's just not tripping over his dick and falling over the place and making noises. I think that would work for that section, but. Yeah, I'll give it 3 stars. It's worth at least one time just to see, if you're a completionist and you do want to see what Rodriguez was able to do and you do want to see what Tarantino was able to do. I think in the early days, it's the start of their little kind of like bromance together. They're really in the 90s working together. This kind of interaction helps go to From Dusk Till Dawn, which then will lead into them doing a Planet Terror together. The Grindhouse combination together.
Sure. No, 100%. I always feel like when you do watch this movie, Scott, for the first time, you can start watching it and then make your food. All right? You don't have to really pay attention to it. Just put it on. You can hear the background, what's going on. Look over there. Make your food. Make your drinks. Get ready. And by the time you're done, you'll be on to the second story. And then you're watching that and you realize, shoot, I got to run to the bathroom. You don't need to stop the movie. Run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Come back. All right. And by then you'll probably see the whole comedy sequence of Jennifer Beals yelling different names for Ted Stain and whatnot, and David Provel getting all upset. That's funny. And then right away you're sitting down, you got your meal there, you got your cheeseburger, your nachos, anything you want to have, and you're just ready to go on to the Misbehaviors and laugh out loud at this comedy classic. And you're like, damn, that was so good. What's going to come next? And then the next story comes up and it's not as good, but it's a great way to sort of digest your food. And, you're going to have some good laughs. Bruce Willis is there and Tarantino has a good monologue. You're going to love it. So, yeah, overall, I think the movie itself here, it's like, it's no more than 98 minutes total, folks. So,
it's a breeze. It is a breeze to get through.
It's a breeze watch.
Hard,
but you definitely want to have your food eaten and done by the time the Misbehaviors. So the first story is where you make your food. The second one, you can sort of eat your food and look up. You don't have to really pay attention to it. But by the third story comes along, then you want to have your food done so you can concentrate on that story and enjoy it. And then there you go. That's it. All right.
Agreed.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it about 3.5 stars because
okay, all right, you give it that
third one does elevate it a little bit more for me.
Yeah.
So it is about
as a piece. I think the third one's a 5-star.
Yes,
in my opinion, it's as a short film. It's a 5. It is a master class in how to do a short film,
100%,
and also to write comedy.
Oh,
it really is. I went to film school and they always said, "Don't work with kids and animals." Well, these kids changed that because they were just unbelievable. And so, yeah, I would give Rodriguez's Room itself a 5-star because it is so good. It really is. Like, we can't sell it enough. People should. I mean, if you just see that, even if you just watch his, you'll enjoy the hell out of the Misbehavior because it is so well done. It's so well done.
100% truth. Scott, I thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate you having me on
for this episode of Recalling Rodriguez. Kind of a little short one because it's a little short session to talk about, but I think we covered everything that needed to be covered for this little section of 4 rooms. Please tell everyone out there any upcoming new episodes that will be happening. Will be released at the end of next week.
Oh, okay. So at the end of May, we will be kicking into the 20th anniversary special for Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. I already did 20th for the Volume 1 and Volume 2, but this is reaching its 20th as Con is kicking off now. 20 years ago, Tarantino actually debuted. It's the film I got to see at his theater when I interviewed him last year. Well, now, that version of the film. So we talk about the new version, what's missing. We kind of go through how we feel about it. And then I have episodes every first and third Friday. The first is the Whole Bloody Discussion, where we have been doing a legacy look back at Tarantino's career as a whole. And then the one you talked about is Ranking Tarantino, which is where we will be ranking any and everything, the top 5 in the Tarantino-verse. And also in June, probably 2-3 weeks after this comes out, I will have started a YouTube only called Talking Tarantino, where we'll discuss the news of Tarantino that's going on, which is right now kind of starting to flow quite a bit. He's got a lot of stuff going on, things he's involved in. And then it will be centered on the guests. The guests will actually bring the discussion topic, and I will spitball with them on that. So it's about a 30-minute show that we'll be starting, and that'll be every second and fourth Friday of the month starting in June. And that's where we are at the church on season 5.
I have to ask you this, Scott. Will you be covering the play that Tarantino is directed?
So the plan is, again, with The Adventures of Cliff Booth now coming out in November, I'm still hopeful to be able to go to one of the premieres. No word yet if that'll happen. But when the play does debut next spring in England, a couple of us are going to fly over. We're going to see the play, and we're going to do a podcast episode over there in England. I'll get to meet some of my English guests. And the plan is hopefully, we're in May now, probably just shy of 9 months, 8 months, however long. I'm thinking February, March is when it'll debut, but we could be wrong. But that's when I'll definitely have a plan to go over there and watch it and then cover it.
Because I'll travel anywhere kind of in the state to kind of go see it.
Well, again, it'll have to do well over there before it gets a debut here. He said it'll take about 2 years of his life, so I think it'll probably get a good 6-month run over there, and if it feels good, then they'll start to put something together for traveling over here in the States. And again, of course, I'd see it again over here, but I want to see it with that original cast.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm a huge fan of like shows like Hamilton, and I never saw them with the original cast. And while it's not fair to the other actors who pick up the roles, but once a play or a musical kicks off and you've got the originals, it is hard to see a play with anyone in it but those people. You know what I mean? Like the original, or if you have, if you've seen it on TV or you hear the soundtrack, it's kind of like you're expecting those voices, you're expecting those performances. So it is difficult sometimes to look at someone else doing it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I almost imagine if this does go well, they probably want to film it.
Well, that is, again, I harp on this on my show. Modern journalism in as a whole, but modern especially media journalism is dog shit.
Okay.
No one hardly anyone does anything but do clickbait or quick sound bites, and they just want to quickly thrust it out there. They'll take someone else's writing, they'll add a little few things. They'll say story originally came from so and so. But when I did interview him, he said in the interview that if the play is successful, he will then rewrite it from the stage to a movie. He's going to adapt that into a movie if it's successful.
Well,
So he's already said that. So when people start talking, well, he's not working on his new film, sometimes you go, do you not do research? Like, it's really frustrating to see any kind of entertainment journalism. It is such garbage and so just clickbait and making up stories and just copying and pasting things they've already written. So the fact that they didn't just go back and he said it on the episode, I'm not expecting any kind of, I don't want them to say it was on my show, but go back and at least do your work and figure out that. In the beginning of that, I asked him what he had coming up. He talked about the play. He didn't give the name at that time. He didn't give the genre, but then he said, if it goes well, then I plan to then write it and make that my 10th film. So that will be his 10th film if it goes well. If the Poppin' J Cavalier is successful as a play and people like it, that's what he's saying. Again, could he change his mind? Of course. I also document that well on my show.
Well,
that he has changed his mind quite a bit.
Make that his 10th film. I was thinking that if the play is good, maybe they'll actually film it on stage. And then have it.
That'd be interesting to see what he's going to do with that, because that's a great point. I feel like if he does that, then maybe that would push him to not do that as the film, because then you already have this kind of existing. You know what I mean? In my opinion, he may just want you. If you want to see it, you're going to have to go to the theater and see it and enjoy it live as opposed to on the screen. If you want to see it on the screen, I'll make it a movie and go see that version of it. So that I think he'll be more that way. But who knows? Who knows? There's one thing I've learned about him. You cannot pin down anything you think he's going to do when it comes to his movies or anything. He's always surprising. You just never know what left turn he's going to throw at you.
And that's true. I mean, if the play is successful, people want to go to see that play. I mean, he waited a long time before Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair was available everywhere.
Almost 20 years. I mean,
20 years.
Yeah, so it's 20 years before it's available for everybody. But to see it took 19 years for people to get to go see it. That wasn't at just his place to actually make a release of it. And now you had to wait almost 20 years for it to finally. So because it was announced in 2006 that it was going to come out, and it took 20 years for it to finally come out. So yeah, he's a person who can be patient. So he's not looking, he's not moving forward with the movie yet. So I'm looking forward to the play, because he's doing nothing. Like as he said, he's going to try to get a lot of Hollywood actors to be a part of it. So it'd be interesting to see who's in this play, whether it's from Hollywood, British. Like, it's going to be interesting to see who he has as like the main people. That alone is make like I said, going to make people want to go see the play if they can, because you could have some pretty heavy names starring in some of these roles, whatever those roles may be.
Scott, I'm hoping this starts a trend of people being excited for theater and going to plays and whatnot. It's seen as being a very posh, rich thing, and I'm hoping that maybe this will elevate people to maybe do their own interpretations of this for theaters around here, because I would not mind seeing other famous actors in my city and state do this, or actors from like New York or LA having their own adaptation of it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I love the idea about writer and director who wants to do his own thing. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna do theater. I've done the movie thing. Why not? Let's try theater out there. Let's give that a shot. And I absolutely love that. So.
Well, and like you said, he's got the movie coming out too that Fincher's directed. So if that goes well, maybe he's in his. We'll as fans will get writing, and maybe we'll get like a Rodriguez get to direct another thing of his. Like, if this movie goes well as well, we could get a new era of Tarantino. Maybe he's no longer stepping behind the camera anymore, but now he's writing, which is what he loves to do anyways.
Yep.
And he considers himself a writer, and other people are going to take stabs at his work. That could be exciting too.
Yeah.
So we could have a new, he may have found a new era for himself, to still be creative, but not have to do all the hard, heavy lifting. I mean, he got paid $20 million for this script for The Adventures of Cliff Booth. If you consider that he got paid, I think it was like $50,000 for True Romance. That's quite a jump in salary from first writing gig to the most recent. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, as always, Scott, thank you for coming on to Cinema Recall Podcast. I hope you will come on here again. I hope I will have you on my other podcast for Rabbit Hole Podcast, which Church of Tarantino is on as well.
Yes,
The Rotten Truth is a podcast I host with Danny Roberts, where we look at movies that have gotten low ratings. And I'm going to be putting up a poll there soon about who should I cover, because there's 3 people in their movies I want to cover. Madonna, all the movies of Madonna.
Okay. Yeah.
Elvis Presley.
Oh, okay.
Movies of Elvis Presley. And Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Wow. Those that's a triumphant right there. That's definitely a threesome that no one would see coming.
Who do we cover the movies for more of? Presley, Madonna, or Hulk Hogan? So Elvis, Madonna, Hulk Hogan. Actually, I may switch up Hulk Hogan and do Prince, but Prince only really had like 3 movies.
Yeah, and he all directed them.
And as like Elvis Presley had a whole slew of movies. Madonna had a whole slew of movies. I kind of want to do a series of like good musicians, bad actors for Rabbit Hole Podcast, but I'm just trying to think of which one I want to do there. As for Cinema Recall Podcast, we are still doing our Recalling Rodriguez series. Going to be planning on doing a newest series soon, but I'm not quite sure. I should announce that I'm taking a little break from Cinema Recall because I'm starting a new podcast with my friend Ashley called The AV Exchange. That's going to be happening in July. We're going to be doing just episodes of us talking about random topics, and it's going to be our whole free flow range of ideas, and it's a lot of fun because one of my buds and we just like talking about random things, everything from dating to like shows we watch, just different vacations we take. So AV Exchange will be happening in July, and like I said, gonna be doing themes of Cinema Recall, but it's mostly gonna be me doing my random thoughts of a movie Insomniac. And I'm going to do just random reaction videos on YouTube, just be reacting to trailers. Right now over on YouTube, I'll react to the Nicholas Winding Refn feature, Her Private Hell. And I also just recently reacted to the adaptation of Victorian Psycho. So you'll see my reactions on there. So I'm doing a little more of those. Follow us on all the social media apps. We're available on Instagram and on Twitter and on Blue Sky and Threads at cinema_recall or Cinema Recall Podcast. That is it right now for the Cinema Recall Podcast. Again, big special thanks to the Reverend Scott K from the Church of Tarantino Podcast. Love it very much, and thank you all for watching. And that is all she wrote. Scott, thank you.